Scoliosis, an emotional journey. Scoliosis is the development of an unnatural spinal curvature, and the spinal curvature also has spinal rotation into the concavity of the scoliosis. Scoliosis induces a lot of uneven forces to the body, its surroundings, tissues, and really the whole muscular and neurological system. Now, scoliosis, unfortunately, is a progressive condition, and it is its very nature to worsen over time. We know scoliosis ranges in severity from mild to moderate to severe and even very severe. Typically, what makes scoliosis worse is progression that's associated to growth. Growth by far is the #1 risk factor to rapid scoliosis progression. And progression means that this unnatural spinal curvature is actually increasing. And as the condition increases its size, increases the effects to their body. So therefore, younger patients that are going through rapid growth are most susceptible to rapid progression. So very often scoliosis is associated with adolescents going through puberty because this is a time we typically see rapid progression because we typically see rapid growth. Scoliosis unfortunately affects adults as well, but it's more commonly diagnosed in children because that's when they're progressing rapidly. And since the most prevalent type of scoliosis is adolescent idiopathic scoliosis, this is typically diagnosed between the age of 10 and 18 years of age. Now, adolescents already have the emotional strain of puberty, and there's hormonal mood swings and trying to fit in with peers and friends. When we add the condition of scoliosis associated with, it can be a very difficult condition to handle emotionally. Being diagnosed with a spinal progressive condition that's normally considered incurable, and normally they're told by their orthopedic doctors that very, very little can be done until the curve worsens into the severe stage where you may be looking at spinal fusion and surgery, which can alter somebody's entire life, can be very difficult for adolescents to handle. Even though we know scoliosis is incurable, it is highly treatable. So therefore, treating the scoliosis successfully requires a very specific protocol to be successful. Adolescents typically just want to fit in with their peers, and they don't want to look different, and they don't want to be different. They just want to be like their friends and fit in. The problem with scoliosis is that the main effect on adolescents is typically posture and symmetry. So typically scoliosis affects what we see. And since it affects what they see, a lot of adolescents can feel like they don't fit in because I don't look like my friends. And it causes this overall body asymmetry. And as curves get bigger, they become more evident in terms of what they're affecting. They can cause a significant shoulder imbalance. They can cause the rib blades to stick out unevenly. They can cause the development of a rib arch or rib humping. They can cause uneven hips or uneven waistline. It can lead to arms and legs that appear to hang in different lengths. It can affect coordination. It can affect balance. It can affect gait because it's affecting overall body awareness. And since scoliosis can affect the way the body looks, these are already, most of the time, you're looking at teens that could already be self-conscious about themselves, and now they're dealing with the asymmetry that's associated with this spinal condition. And unfortunately, when we look at treating scoliosis, sometimes treating scoliosis can involve the patient wearing some brace or some brace device that's going to help change and manage their scoliosis. And this can even add to the problem because now not only do they have scoliosis, but now they're trying to wear a brace that's now makes them look even more different than they were looking before because it's harder to hide it. Even though posturally they may look better in the brace, but now they have this plastic brace around them. And even if they don't look different, they can hide it with shirts or jackets. They know they're wearing them, so they feel different. So even though scoliosis can have all these negative emotional effects on a patient while they first get diagnosed and as maybe while they're initially going through treatment, one of the best things that we notice when we treat patients conservatively is when they actually get results and they actually start to get better and they start to see improvement with the shape of their body and they start to see improvement on their scoliosis and they start seeing improvement on their scoliosis x-rays because conservative treatment, especially the treatment that we provide, it's very patient dependent. So the patient is actively involved in reducing their own curve and in producing the results, and they feel accomplished. So where they initially felt like they were defeated or felt like there's nothing that they can do, they now have this sense of feeling that I overcame something something that they said was impossible. I was doing something that they said that you can't do, and the only thing that's going to happen to your spine is going to worsen to where you need surgery. And when this switch happened, where scoliosis can be negative initially, emotionally, it can now start being positive and can start build character and strength and this sense of overcoming. And we see patients actually make this switch where they're like, hey, if I overcame scoliosis, I can overcome almost anything. So it's a very unique perspective when we look at the treatment of scoliosis. By no means I ever want a patient to be diagnosed with scoliosis or have to go through scoliosis treatment. But if they do and they're successful, very often it can be a very life-changing event for the good. It can have the patient gain a sense of accomplishment and a sense of encouragement that they can overcome something that they were said that was impossible to correct or improve. So here at the center, we spend time talking about patients about this process and the stresses associated initially with being diagnosed and the best way to minimize the emotional effects in the beginning associated with scoliosis treatment. But the best way to minimize the negative emotional effects is to get improvement in the scoliosis and to have the patient buy into their scoliosis treatment and be the main player or main influencer in how much better they become. And once patients get through that, their own motivation takes over because they're seeing the hope that can happen as a result of their spine improving, and they're self-motivated because they can see the changes occurring and they know they're responsible for their own outcomes. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this information helpful. If you'd like to hear about other topics and information on scoliosis, type in the comments below and let us know. And finally, subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified of when we publish content. Thanks.